Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "My wife abandoned me 2 months ago to find herself. My wife Mary's family has a history of dementia, with relatives developing memory issues in their mid to late 50s. Her mom, grandmother, and several other relatives on her mom's side have developed dementia. Her mom lived with us for 4 years until earlier this year. Our kids are independent and out of the house. Our oldest is in her last semester of college and the younger one has enlisted. The last 4 years were tough on us, our kids, and our marriage. Living with someone with dementia is brutal. We talked a lot over the last year about taking the remaining college funds, our regular savings, selling or renting the house, quitting our jobs, and traveling for a year or until the money runs out. We just had to wait for her mom to move into a home. I understood her anxiety about developing dementia and I was burned out. You live through COVID working remotely, with a wife working remotely, a college student and a high school student taking remote classes, and a mother-in-law with dementia, and see how you hold up. Space finally opened up and we were able to move her mom into a care facility. I finally thought I had a chance to breathe. However, when we moved Mary's mom out, Mary's mental health took a huge downward spiral. I went from caring for her mom to caring for her. She felt guilty about putting her mom in a home and experienced lots of anxiety about developing dementia. Our plan was to start traveling in summer 2024. 2 months ago, I got home to find she had left a note. Basically, she was going on our trip without me. She had quit her job, taken most of our savings, and wasn't sure when she'd be back. Maybe a year, maybe sooner. She knew I'd understand. Her location is turned off and my calls go directly to voicemail. I texted the kids a picture of the note. We have our own checking accounts for direct deposits of our paychecks, but usually transfer most into a joint account to pay household bills and save. We both had access to the main savings account. We also have joint credit cards we use for household expenses. The 2 cars and the mortgage are joint. We both have our own small savings accounts, our own retirement accounts, and our own credit cards for gifts and fun things. I closed all joint cards and accounts. I waited a month to see if she'd come back. After receiving only 1 text in the first month, I went to a lawyer. She basically said there was very little to do right now other than change the beneficiaries of my retirement accounts and life insurance. It was only a month, and there was no way to serve her papers. My lawyer advised me to keep paying the mortgage and the car payments. The cost of trying to get a judge to approve the sale of joint assets was more than just making the payments. I didn't want to ruin my credit by letting one of our cars get repossessed, but I can't sell it because she's on the title. I get random texts from her and she sporadically posts on Instagram. I want to block her so badly, but my lawyer advised me that it's better to maintain a communication channel that doesn't involve our kids. Her last post was from Hawaii. She commented on how great a husband I was for letting her take this trip. Meanwhile, I'm barely making it while paying for 2 cars, the mortgage, household bills, and insurance, hoping there are no emergencies because I have no savings. And she's enjoying our trip. F her. I'm so pissed at her. I helped take care of her mom for 4 years and supported her when she fell apart after her mom moved into a memory care home, and she returns the favor by abandoning me. I'll never get to take this trip and have to put off retirement. My only solace is that the kids are upset with her, but they'll probably forgive her eventually. Double F her. I'm no fool, she's hooking up with guys. She looks good and will have zero problem attracting men. I texted her and asked if she was sleeping around. A week later, she responded that she wasn't. So here I am, drinking alone on a Friday night while she's somewhere, probably on a beach, enjoying life. Edit. My lawyer has given me a bunch of advice and options. It was just way more than I could possibly include in this post. I could definitely push the issue harder and I might need to at some point, but all that work is very expensive. Finding her, serving her, getting a judge to sign off, that's not cheap. I'm following up soon and plan on discussing the savings and my finances. Until I paid all the bills and realized how little was left, it didn't hit me that I had to worry about money. User King of Leprechaun said, "Thanking you for letting her take this trip is basically her way of saying, when I'm done living the single life, I'll be coming back to the comfort and security of married life. When she returns, I'd say, welcome home, here are your walking papers." To this comment, OP said, she is 100% under the delusion that she's coming back to a marriage. She's had a few conversations with our daughter and she's convinced I'll understand and forgive her. User Substantial Youth said, I am so sorry that you are going through this. Have her served and listen to everything your lawyer is telling you. Once she comes back, you will probably face harassment from her. Speak to your lawyer about options to alleviate that issue and consider a cease and desist so she can't smear your character or speak about you. If I were you, I'd have her compensate me for all the money she took without your permission, plus more for emotional distress. You should also change your will. She has financially and emotionally abused you, which can easily be proven in court. It might be different if you are married, but have a forensic accountant handle all of that for you. You helped her with her mother and mental health issues, and in return, she has an identity crisis, taking a majority of the funds to go on a trip that both of you plan to enjoy, leaving you at home to barely pick up the pieces financially. At 50 years old, you now have to push back your retirement and deal with this betrayal. No more communicating through your children. You need to get all of your kids on board to support you. Your daughter also needs to put her foot down and remove herself from the middleman position. They need to understand that what she has done is horrible, selfish, and something no one deserves from a partner. Involving the children is a manipulation tactic on her part. Let her and your family know what she has done and do not sugarcoat anything. Look into therapy. It seems like you have a good group of friends in your corner. I would never do a single thing for that woman again, let alone give her the opportunity to look at me again. User Just Another Dude said, man, this scares the hell out of me. Brother, you need to file for abandonment. This is real and legitimate. Couple this with the fact that she's possibly cheating and she'll lose everything. You could even take her retirement as well. Good luck. Keep your head up and keep us updated. Edit, keep track of all the evidence for your lawyer. Screenshot her Instagram, texts, and emails. Go into her accounts and find everything you can. She thinks you're weak and will take her back, but gather evidence of everything you can. Don't let her screw you over any more than she already has. Stay in control and record everything. She can only screw herself. Edit 2. Look into criminal abandonment. You may be able to use this against your STBX because she took both of your savings, quit her job, and had no intention of financially supporting you like a wife should. By the way, brother, stay strong. You did nothing wrong. Your STBX stepped out of the marriage. A marriage is about what both of you want and need. There's always give and take. She took from you and left you to fend for yourself after you promised to take care of her for better or worse in sickness and health. She only thought about herself and didn't consider you. You don't need to let her know anything now. Make this your last text. I'm done waiting for you to show up. You don't text, call, email, etc. You've taken our life savings and tossed me to the curb. This is after I was loyal and dutifully helped take care of your mother while looking out for your emotional well-being. You're currently manipulating, gaslighting, and ignoring me, all while saying it doesn't matter anyway. This is emotional and financial abuse, and I deserve better. Have fun traveling by yourself. I won't be here for you anymore. I'm filing for criminal abandonment. From here on out, don't communicate anymore unless it's related to the divorce. No emotions, nothing else. If she deviates from that, then ghost her. Take whatever assets you can, file for bankruptcy if necessary, do whatever you can to survive. Explore all your options and do what you can. You also need to control the narrative. Tell your friends and family as well as hers. Show them everything so she can't manipulate you or your family. Once you're done with this chapter, go find a beautiful 30-year-old or younger to have fun with. You deserve happiness. Update. Here's an update from my original post. I'm feeling much more positive now that the financial situation has become a little more manageable. Even with lawyer fees, I have 6 to 8 more months before I have to worry about money. My friend's wife gave me some good advice. Don't go from being a hero to a villain in your kids' eyes. How I talk about and treat my wife will determine my future relationship with my kids. I don't care about my wife, but I don't want to make her a sympathetic figure or drive them away from both of us. I followed up with the lawyer and she basically said we're going to have her pay back the savings she took through a reduction in her share of the assets. Any division of assets will include the savings she took. She'll also have to repay the money I spent maintaining the household while she was gone. There is plenty of equity in her share of the house and her retirement plans to cover that. She mentioned that our finances are so intertwined after nearly 25 years of marriage that my wife will receive some share of the assets. The best case scenario is that she agrees to the terms of the divorce, making it relatively cheap and quick. Otherwise, it gets complicated and expensive. The lawyer gave me a lot of options and an estimate of how much I can expect to spend, so I decided to mostly wait. I got a couple of credit cards with promotional rates for purchases and transfers, which gives me breathing room and allows me to conserve cash. I'll just pay them off when I sell the house. Now that my financial situation is less stressful, I'm actually enjoying her being gone. I'm free to do whatever I want whenever I want. I don't have to cook, clean, or take care of anyone. The house is quiet for the first time I can remember. I loved my wife, but her mental health weighed down our marriage. On balance, it was worth it until now. In the first month or so, I expected her to be there whenever I got home. When someone was at the door, or if I heard noises, I'd think it was her. I'd check the doorbell cam obsessively. I'm not looking forward to her returning. It has to happen, but when she comes back, I'll have to deal with her. The divorce, getting the house ready to sell, dividing all our stuff, and finding a new place to live. I'm hoping she'll stay away until after New Year's, but my daughter said she thinks her mom will be home for Christmas. My lawyer will have papers ready to serve her. Hopefully, she'll just agree to the terms and continue her travels. People had some great advice, renting or selling the house. This isn't really feasible right now since I'd have to fix some things and get it ready to sell or rent. Since I need a place to live, the amount I would net each month isn't worth it. My kids' rooms are still full of their stuff, and I don't want to spend the time and effort to clear them out and put them in storage. Getting a HELOC. This was great advice. I didn't realize I didn't need both parties to get a loan. If I need more money, I can go this route. In the short term, the promotional rates on the credit cards are cheaper and easier than getting a HELOC. Serving my wife divorce papers or getting a divorce in absentia. This is something I might need to do eventually, but the cost in lawyer fees goes up exponentially in cases like this. I'm comfortable just waiting for now, looking at the phone bill to see where she's at and possibly going. I did look at her usage and noticed that she doesn't post on social media until after she leaves a place. For example, when she posted about Hawaii, she made a call that day that originated in Los Angeles. She posted about a cruise and I figured out the dates, but it ended a couple of days before she posted. She tried adding international calling to her line, but I blocked it, so she removed her phone from our account. Final update. My wife texted me in the middle of December that she'd be home for Christmas. I told her that our daughter and I would be at my brother's and that she obviously wasn't welcome. I'd leave her car in the driveway and the fob in the backyard. She wasn't allowed in the house unless I was there and she didn't have keys to get in. She spent Christmas with her sister. When we got back, I met with her. I decided not to be overly confrontational because I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of thinking I cared enough to be mad. She was taken aback by how detached I was. I could tell it bothered her that I didn't show her much emotion, not even anger. I just wanted her to agree to a divorce. This is a summary of several different meetings both with and without our daughter. I asked why she left without telling anyone. She said she didn't want to wait a year, didn't want anyone talking her out of it, didn't want to work anymore, and wanted to leave before her mental health got worse. I'm sure it was mostly because she didn't want me to stop her from taking the money. She knew I would take care of everything with the kids and the house when she left. We had decided to go in the summer of 2024 for a few reasons. Packing everything and getting the house ready to sell was going to be a lot of work. We wanted to make sure our daughter graduated college, got a job, and was settled. We wanted to ensure we had money when we got back. We wouldn't have a house, cars, or jobs, so we needed money because it could take months to find work and a place to live. We didn't want any worries or messes waiting for us back home. At some point in our planning, she began questioning if she ever wanted to go back to our old life. She didn't want to work full-time or buy a house and stay in one place after we got back. She wasn't sure what she wanted, but didn't think she would figure it out by talking to me. I told her that's the reason we were taking the trip, to figure those things out together and see what we wanted for the next part of our lives. I asked her why she didn't just get a divorce before she left. Then she wouldn't have had to do this behind our backs and would have had plenty of money without stealing our joint savings. She claims that she didn't want a divorce and that she wanted us to live whatever life she figured out. I told her that's not how marriages work. One person can't decide for the other. In talking or texting with our daughter and her family, along with my texts and voicemails, she realized I might not forgive her, so she might have to visualize a future without me. This is where I had hoped she would say something ridiculous like she was going to squander all her money living in a van and making travel vlogs, or that she met some guy who needed her to wire money so they could open an ice cream shop in Alaska. Instead, she wants to be a digital nomad, working part-time, fully remote while living in new places. She tried to convince me to go with her, but I'll never be able to trust her again, plus I don't love her anymore. Traveling like that for a few years doesn't sound bad, but she doesn't have a job or any work lined up. She's not in her 20s, and that way of living will get old quickly. No close friends, no family. I want her to make it work so she won't be here trying to get back into our lives. How are the kids doing? Our son wouldn't have seen us the entire time she was gone anyway. He only responds to her with very short texts. He told me she wanted to see him, but he said he was too busy and wouldn't be able to get away. He lives in the barracks, so it's an easy excuse to avoid her. My daughter has stopped talking and texting her. She's pretty upset. Her worry turned to anger when she realized her mom wasn't having a mental breakdown, but was just being selfish. If her mom had stuck around, they could probably have worked through it eventually. I just care that my daughter is happy, so whatever she decides, I'll support her. Did she spend all the money? About half. I think she realized she needed to figure things out before she completely ran out of money. Did she sleep with anyone? I didn't ask because I didn't care. Asking would imply I wanted her back or that it would matter. Even though I didn't ask, she claims she didn't. I'm not sure if she's lying or not. She might just be saying that because she doesn't want the kids to have another reason to be mad at her. Does she feel bad for what she put us through? She claims she does and wishes she had handled it differently. She said getting away and figuring herself out was best for her. I told her she was just being selfish. When she first left, we were worried something would happen to her and that we would never see her again. She's always been self-centered. I told her she's taking the easy route and letting everyone else handle the difficult parts. If she gets sick, the kids will take care of her. If she goes broke, she'll live with family. If she abandons everyone, they'll forgive her. She thinks her siblings and our children will let her live with them like we let her mom live with us. I'm sure when she visualizes her future, she sees our kids there. They might not be, and definitely not in the same way they were before. Despite how it might sound, I'm actually really happy with how it all turned out. Our divorce is far from final, but we've agreed on the big things. We'll sell the house, how to split the retirement and profit from the house, how to pay back the money she took, and what I spent maintaining the household. I got most of what I wanted from the settlement, and she'll soon be out of my life. I won't have to pay alimony, and because she's choosing to make significantly less money than she was, I won't be forced to support her. That would have been a kick in the teeth. She isn't my responsibility anymore, and I won't have to care for her if she gets sick or goes broke. I figured I'd start dating again. I didn't realize that a 50-year-old man with children out of the house, a good job, and in decent shape would be a catch. I'm not fighting women off with a stick, but I've had a lot more interest than I expected. It's been kind of nice meeting new women. I've worked out the numbers, and I'll be doing pretty well after everything is settled since I only have to support myself. This isn't where I wanted to be, 50, getting divorced, and using Reddit as free therapy sessions, but I'm happier now than I've been in a while. I'm even planning a little vacation of my own. P.S. Thank you to everyone who has responded and reached out. It meant a lot. User Detective Sudden said, I predict she'll be back when she starts having health problems or runs out of money. It only took her a year to burn through half of your life savings. She'll likely burn through whatever she gets from the divorce before 5 years are out. I know some actual digital nomads, and all of them are highly skilled in sought-after tech fields, famous media personalities, or workers. If your STBXW isn't any of those, she'll soon be run to ground somewhere. People this selfish can literally not conceive of a world where they are not the main character, expecting everyone to drop whatever they are doing to help them. User-side Starfish said, the only reason she's not admitting to sleeping with someone else during her self-discovery phase is how it would make her look to friends and family. She still had a small glimmer of hope for not getting divorced, and most importantly, she knows it's grounds for divorce. User Kish Bish said, I'm a digital nomad at the moment and have been for close to a year. People have this romanticized view of it, perhaps because of what they see on social media or from influencers trying to sell them a lifestyle, but it will not go the way your wife thinks for reasons that would require a novel-length reply. Make sure you and your children really lock down your finances and living situations, because she will be back very shortly after trying out the nomadic lifestyle and working part-time remotely, and she will absolutely expect someone to look after her. This next post was made in the AITAH subreddit by a user named Boring Committee. The post is titled AITAH for wanting to give up my son after discovering he isn't mine. The situation is nothing short of messed up. I'm angry, depressed, and sad, and I don't know what to do. Throw away. I am shattered and don't know where to turn. My wife passed away last month, only 7 months after giving birth to our son. She developed peripartum cardiomyopathy, a rare and severe form of heart failure that can occur in the months following childbirth. Despite the doctor's best efforts, she didn't survive. Losing her so suddenly has left me heartbroken and in a state of constant grief. 3 weeks ago, my wife's best friend came over to visit. She was visibly nervous and eventually told me she had something sensitive to share. After some hesitation, she revealed that my wife had confided in her that she'd been unfaithful around the time our son was conceived and that there was a chance he might not be mine. I was stunned and angry. My wife's best friend was telling me this only weeks after my wife's death, and it felt like an attempt to tarnish her memory. I couldn't believe it. I told her to leave and not to come back, convinced she was lying or trying to shift blame onto me somehow. The whole thing felt like a betrayal, and I tried to push the thought out of my mind. But once the idea was planted, it wouldn't go away. I kept wondering, what if she was telling the truth? After days of tormenting myself with this possibility, I decided to get a DNA test. It wasn't an easy decision. I felt guilty for even considering it, but I needed closure. Yesterday, the results came back. My worst fears were confirmed. My son isn't biologically mine. Now I'm in turmoil. I loved my wife, and I wanted to believe our son was a piece of her and me together. But knowing he's not biologically mine has left me feeling lost and betrayed. I keep looking at him, trying to feel the same bond, but the pain of my wife's infidelity is so fresh that I don't know if I'll ever be able to move past it. I feel awful even considering it, but I don't know if I can raise him on my own. The betrayal I feel is overwhelming, and I don't know if I'm capable of giving him the love and care he deserves. It's breaking my heart, and I feel like a failure. At the same time, I feel like I'm not equipped to give him the life he deserves. Am I the jerk? Edit. I hadn't thought of contacting the friend, but I will now. The replies have really solidified what I've been feeling. The child is innocent, but I don't think I'd be able to love or care for him as well as I should. Informing the family will be my first step, then contacting the AP if possible. Adoption is going to be my last resort. Many of you may believe I'm a monster, but put yourself in my situation. I hope you all understand. Edit 2, so I called her friend. I apologized for my behavior, but also asked why she did not inform me as soon as she knew. She said her loyalties lay with her friend more than with me. Okay, fine. I asked her about the AP. She said she doesn't know who it is since it was a one-time thing. Apparently, it happened during her work time, whatever that meant, and during the daytime as she'd been told. I'm not fully understanding, but it seems like she slept with a guy when she was supposed to be working. Many of you are suggesting I go through her phone or other social contacts, but I don't know any passwords. I never doubted her. We weren't controlling of each other and had plenty of privacy. The next step is informing the family, both mine and hers. I'm adding one more thing. I don't hate the baby, and I'm not so deranged that I'd throw him out of the house. Whatever happens will happen according to procedure. I'm not going to instantly abandon a kid just because he isn't mine. User McMurm said, "Have you thought about calling her friend and asking who the father is? It took a lot for her to tell you. She could have chosen never to say anything. The right thing to do first is to attempt to find this guy and inform him." To this, OP said, "I haven't contacted her since that day. However, your suggestion is sound, and I definitely reach out to her for his details, if she has any." User Desert Girl said, "Social worker here. Since OP was married at the time of his wife's death, he is considered the legal father in the eyes of the family court. Although DNA has established that he is not the biological father, he will need to have his parental rights terminated to avoid any legal responsibility for the child from the affair. OP needs to contact a family law attorney and start legal proceedings to identify the biological father and terminate his rights." User Decent Dig said, "NTA. I'm sorry this has happened. Unfortunately, he is now a reminder of betrayal and a reminder that your life with your wife was a lie. It might be best to put him up for adoption or let your wife's family take him. You will never have the bond with him that you would have had if this truth had not been uncovered." 4 days later, OP gave us an update. "Thanks to everyone who reached out with advice and support. I didn't get to respond to every message, but I really appreciate it. After finding out my son isn't biologically mine, I decided to tell both my family and my in-laws. My family was shocked and angry about everything, but they stood by me. My in-laws were also shocked, but didn't believe it at first. They asked to see the DNA test results, and after seeing them, they suggested we do a second test with both families present, just to be sure. They said that if it confirmed he isn't mine, my late wife's sister, who has a 4-year-old daughter, would adopt him, and I could take my name off the birth certificate if I wanted. I agreed, and we did the test yesterday. The results should come in about a week." Honestly, I'm relieved with how things are playing out. There hasn't been any drama and everyone has been understanding. I've also talked to a lawyer who said getting my name off the certificate should be straightforward with the test results. Thank you all again for the support and for those who offered to adopt him. I'm sorry, but your kindness means a lot. I'll update when the final results are in. And a week after that, OP gave his final update. Baby's gone. The results came back 2 days ago. As expected, I'm still not the father. By the time the results arrived, I had already packed up most of the baby's things. My mom was staying with me, helping take care of the baby and keeping me sane through all of this. This morning, my late wife's parents, sister, and brother-in-law came to pick him up. The handover was smooth except for a snarky comment from my wife's sister. She said I seemed too eager to let the baby go. I didn't respond, there was no point, but it stung. Despite that, my in-laws were supportive throughout and told me that going no contact would be best for everyone involved. I agreed, it's painful, but I think it's the right choice. I hugged them goodbye and they left. They're good people and I'll miss them. Now, the house feels empty. My mom went back home today but will return tomorrow to stay for about a week until things settle. Honestly, I feel relieved. Call me what you want, but I'm finally breathing again. This whole ordeal has been exhausting, but knowing I can start fresh feels like a weight off my shoulders. As for my wife's belongings, I gave her jewelry to my in-laws. They didn't want anything else except for a few trinkets and pictures, so they told me I could sell or donate the rest. I haven't decided what to do with it yet, but I'll figure it out. I didn't respond to comments on my last post because the hate was overwhelming and I was exhausted. My messages were flooded with some of the vilest messages imaginable just because I chose not to raise a child that isn't mine and was conceived through infidelity. To those who supported me, thank you. Your words helped me make decisions I wasn't confident about before. And to those who criticized me, I appreciate the perspective. Even if I didn't agree, it made me think. For now, I'm taking a break from dating and focusing on myself. Maybe I'll buy a bike and get back into riding or hit the gym again. I just need to move forward. I'll be keeping this account for about a week before I delete it. Thanks again to those who took the time to support or challenge me. It's been a hell of a journey.